Roger.
Hey, this is Misery Loves Company, a weekly social reading series hosted by miserytourism.com. Every Friday, we welcome outsider and transgressive writers to come and share their work with us. And it's Friday again, so let's get rolling here. So first up tonight is Michelle.
Okay, I almost couldn't get the mute button. So I'm reading two poems and
Are you on the bus? Are you on the bus
see.
or the subway?
I'm on the train, excuse me.
Okay.
There's gonna be a little bit of background noise. Okay, so poem titled Death by Gold Leaf, Manicured Pinky, Coke Nail into the Socket. I've been awake for too long. I'm gonna nod out now. I didn't make money all day. I almost and really did just spend. I found a 20 on the ground. It doesn't even break the even bend. I hate everything now. I'm an ungrateful cunt. Feed me vegan carrion and runts. And then I have one more. Okay, poem titled, I'm fucking honored to know that you think I'd stab you in the back. He has slit scarred up his arms. He tried to kill himself. I told him my deepest secret. I was at the train station. I asked the woman at the help desk for a pen. I had paper. Looking for a pen here and everywhere. She found one. You're not going to stab me in the back, are you? No, I assure her. I'm a poet. I just have a poem in mind and I really want to write it down. She tells me, good luck, which I and all the gods and demons know I might need. It was a long day with my using friend, preceded by a short night with my using friend. I go home and he doesn't. Nothing is all right. Thank you, guys.
Those were great. First of all, I love your ability to turn every reading into performance art. You're just out here on the train reading. It's great. For these two, I really love the titles of both of them. Like, these are some fantastic ass titles. And I love the contrast in both cases between the titles and the poems, right? In both cases, like, the titles are like hyper descriptive and the poems themselves are a lot more restrained, which I think it makes for just a great, like, as I said, contrast. And often with poetry, you see the opposite, which it will be called like, like 12 ways of looking at a slinky or whatever. And then the prose will be really flowery. But I like how you flip the script on that with like really flowery descriptive titles and really restrained kind of concise poems. So another great batch, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate your feedback.
So next up is John. And John, you have a paper to share with us? An essay?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Here, I'll share it here.
Oh, did I say John? I meant to say Josh. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No
Oh,
problem.
okay.
It's funny that my name gets glitched into John. That's the,
Yeah, sorry about that, Josh. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. I've had my name printed on the back of a magazine as John, so I think my alter ego is a John.
Thank goodness for Ramona in the chat, listening closely. Okay, sorry about
Thanks,
that, Josh.
Ramona.
It's all yours.
Cool. So I was actually hoping that that John Padula was going to be here because I do reference him, and I had some poems published on the Misery Tourism website today, but I'm going to read this abstract from this paper. I'm kind of proposing it's last minute, fly by the seat of the pants shit, but I figured I'd give it a try because there's this conference coming up, and I actually checked in with John, and he said that he's going to be in LA at the same time as I'm going to be for this conference. So we were like conspiring to potentially be able to maybe present on the work of Elizabeth Aldrich. It is quite last minute to be proposing it because they want their proposals pretty early at these things, but I wrote quick proposal, and John's kind of seems tentatively on board. I haven't run it by him completely. I was hoping he'd be here. But anyway, I'm going to read from it, and maybe at the minimum, it would just push the dialogue like a millimeter forward on this pertinent topic. So it's the Pacific Ancient and Modern Language Association Conference, and the description goes like this: a session that explores the imminent legacy of the late LA novelist and short story writer Elizabeth Aldrich, undertaken in the hyperreal domain of social media, hyperlinks, file hosting sites. As an exemplar of the recently named school of cyber writing, her amorphous and undefined oeuvre necessitates a shift in understanding of literature towards transnational decentralized ideation, to consider scholarship as file seeding, elegy as digital gathering. So that's just the short description that they want at these things. And then they want a synopsis. The term cyber writing describes a form that has emerged in recent years, evolving with social media, one that leans heavily on the transnational and instantaneous potential of internet spaces to form writing communities unmoored from typical systems of production, both economic and ontological, and that magnifies niche audiences. The hyperreal nature of cyber writing communities reflects the kind of expansion and subversion of the reality principle that underpins the creation of postmodern urban spaces, as exemplified by the Los Angeles mythos, where performative identity is seated beyond the confines of any stable locality, and where on-screen personalities possess simultaneity and instantaneity. This past July, one of the most recognizable figures in the cyber writing community passed away at age 29. The work of Elizabeth Aldrich, LA novelist and short story writer, displays many of the qualities inherent in cyber writing. In the wake of her passing, an ersatz scholarly impetus formed. John Padula, a fellow creative writer and friend of Aldrich, has undertaken to seek out and collect those texts by Aldrich that were published solely online, tracking them through Twitter, blog posts, including her plunderphonic experiments with sound. This cyber literary world is one of Zoom readings, AI meddling, and trolls. Gaming is in close proximity to the creative process. And here I have a citation to Jesse Hilton, page 3 of his tweet. I don't know how to cite a tweet. Gamers are writers, writers gamers. Any scholarship surrounding her work needs to be done according to the mores of the new literary field. A presentation by myself and Padula will tell the story of this fascinating LA writer to define the field of cyber writing as it pertains to archival scholarship. Through the feedback loops in the transnational domain, we can come together and generate a matrix where lay scholarship creates a path into academia for a writer who was an outsider to post-secondary schools. Her ability to connect directly with readers, to leverage internet channels, to create a mythic authorial image, to share her inner world confessionally through various social media platforms demands a protean and immediate scholarly approach. Classic 20th century concepts like the reality principle and the global village prove their prophetic worth in this area where such concepts are so manifest. This is the arena of the new, to echo Ezra Pound. By exploring her legacy within the cyber writing context, this paper will combine readings from her work with an overview of some of the writers in the online world, creating a language and perspective that's capable of rising to the critical challenge presented by Elizabeth Aldrich's work. So that's it. And just a little note is I had to kind of frame this according to the particular the particular panel. They have different panels at this conference. So this panel is about new forms of scholarship. So I kind of had to like cookie cutter it into something that fits what they're looking for. So that's my
Josh.
proposal.
Oh, sorry. Josh,
No
I
problem.
really hope this proposal is accepted. I really do, for a couple of reasons. First of all, because anything that kind of helps to cement and enlarge Eris's legacy, I think is a good thing, is unequivocally a good thing, right? But number two, because this is it. This is the opportunity to finally finish the like transformative process of turning cyber writing from a joke that Jake Blackwood made once 2 years ago to a scholarly discipline recognized by academia, right? Like that, and that, like, I think that's kind of the dream, right? And like the irony inherent in that is so incredible. I think that like if this does, oh, that's what I wanted to ask is, if this does get accepted and the panel happens, will it be recorded? Will it be posted anywhere?
Details like that, I'm sure they have audio visual capability,
Mhm.
and that would be definitely something I would, want to record. I imagine we're allowed to record our own if they're not recording it themselves. So yeah, it would be something we would definitely record,
That would
and
be fantastic. If it does
if
get
it's,
recorded, let me
yeah,
know,
all
because I
right.
think a lot of people in the community would really like to see that.
Thanks. And I guess I need a footnote there to Jake Blackwood. So thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, no problem. If you need any details about that, you can just ask me, or even I ask Jake. He'll give you he'll give you a quote for sure.
Oh man, that is amazing. I love the details that kind of hint at other details without saying them, like the idea, like, first of all, this is just so awesome that cyber writing has snowballed into this thing. And it's like, at this point, like, is it even a joke or is it not a joke? Like, I mean, that, like, at this point, if there's real scholarship to be done there, it's not a joke, right? I mean, so
Wait,
that
is this true? Sorry, is this true?
what that
Jake-
Jake
Yeah.
Jake
Yeah.
coined
Holy shit, that's insane. Insane. That's
I
like
don't-
that's like heavily, that could easily be like heavily philosophical work. That's insane.
right?
Yeah, I mean, and it started in a Twitter conversation. Like, I think somebody was literally like, I don't remember exactly, but somebody was basically like, what do you call this thing that we're doing? Because I think there's a real desire to not see the kind of space that's been defined by misery tourism and expat and surfaces and so on as alt lit. I think in some ways it's kind of a post alt lit thing, and so people are like, what do you fucking call this thing? And Jake is like, it's called cyber writing. I don't think he clarified.
Yeah.
I think he was just like, it's cyber writing, and it's
Yeah.
become a meme and now an academic discipline.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so funny because I'm taking a philosophy of literature class this semester, and I was planning to write on cyber writing, but I had no idea it was like in relation to Jake.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So anyway, Josh, thanks so
So
much.
good.
Definitely keep us posted on this, because I'm really excited about the prospect here of kind of like, I don't know, the whole thing is just exciting. The idea that this is an opportunity for Eris to really be remembered,
Yeah.
to be memorialized in some way, and also the prospect of like opening the door within academia to this wild shit that we've been doing. I think that's cool. Anyway, thank you, Josh. Up next, Gianluca. Speaking of this wild shit that we've been doing.
Shit. All right. Okay. Sick. Yeah. I mean, predictably, it's just another segment of the book, but a very short one compared to the others because it's only like 5 pages instead of like 10, like I usually fucking read from. So this is good. All right. Cool. All right. Okay. Let me just get on the bed. Okay. Lotus position. Let's go. All right. Okay, so anybody who's not been familiar in the context of the story, Eris, after the death of Beaufort, her, husband, Schiffer, she has been, in a sense, taken while she was drunk to the house, the geodesic dome of the intellectual who is known as Oppenheimer, who lives in the false woods. Anyway, okay, middle of a conversation. It carries on exactly the point at which the last reading ended. I'm sorry. Anyway, okay. Would you like to go outside? This is, I believe, Eris speaking. That would be wonderful. This is Oppenheimer. Would you like some coffee? Attempts to undermine the common ways of knowing have resulted in the absorption of the outliers into the stream of content choices. However, this has simply resulted in a dictatorship of the quirky, with the old orthodoxy in the background, shaping the ways in which ideas manifest themselves. I don't find much use in the framing of normal versus abnormal. If one's ideas fall outside the mainstream, one has to ally oneself with the cranks and retards? No. And so the Overton window relating to who gets to be a public intellectual is shattered. But with that, the hierarchy of success and failure. There can be no opposition anymore because opposition necessarily relies on being outside the system. An idea that is sufficiently alienating and not gussied up with infotainment and marketing will always be an indulgence, as it would have no ability to succeed. The people demand for their attention to be held, and if one does not frame ideology appropriately, they will simply reject it. This was always the case. It is simply more obvious now. While the basis of reality is conflict, this eternal struggle is irrelevant to true political reality. Obviously, but my point is that the shattering of the Overton window has not expanded people's choice at all regarding approaches to reality, I'd argue. People being able to construct their own limits means that politics has now more than ever become an exercise in self-definition. All methods of knowing have a seat at the table. Even obnoxious university thieves, would-be Prometheuses, now come face to face with the fact that there are no educational establishments to steal from. Knowing and politics becoming decentralized is the final nail in the coffin of the student being anything more than a customer. If self-definition can no longer have a material effect due to absorption into a market, then all knowing is functionally the same and equally useless. Is this not simply the surfacing of truth, the removal of a lid? To be true is not necessarily to be more just. At times, it is precisely lies and false hierarchies that allow for difference to exist. It is precisely illusion that allows for something outside of illusion to exist. When all is truth, nothing is possible. And so it has indeed been made clear that the marginalized political element is either an impotent social club or a cultural product. What caused this change? Why now is the world so unchanging? The ways people refer to it keep shifting, but the actuality is corpse-like. But such difference being contingent on those structures indicates that it wasn't true difference. It was simply a release of excess energy. Everything that those in power despise still exists, simply adorned by different symbols and constrained by the system. This process was inevitable and washed away all the pretensions people had that things were going to change. Better for people to believe in things for their own sake than to do so strategically. Why? Because it's more pure? Fuck purity. I don't care about the interiority of whoever espouses a particular opinion. I care about the correctness of such a view and its material effect, whether people are uninformed or malevolent. It makes no difference to me. Last night you were professing defeatism, and now you're exalting the power of beliefs. My position is that we have lost something. It seems that you disagree. The only thing that has changed is that declaring oneself punk is now incoherent. Fools talk of being on the side of MasterCard when it comes to socially progressive policies, but now that no idea is marginalized, the idea of being anti-mainstream makes no sense. Basing your politics on the presence of youthful energy is foolish, as youth has been banished from imagination. But youth is the only thing that can defeat power. It seems more and more that ageism is appropriate. The old are stubborn and yet are so gullible. They are easily manipulated by news organizations into thinking that they know anything about what they speak of. The young are stupid and arrogant, and so the same effect is achieved but is also compounded by confusion. This confusion is born from awareness of the inescapability of platitude and the elusive nature of truth. And so when the youth say that they are not understood, it is often the case that there is nothing to understand. The sincere individual puts forward a certain narrative regarding the correct way to disseminate ideas, as does the ironic individual, but both are trapped within a maze of signs. There's no truth to anything they say. And so, in a desperate search for truth, people become anti-MasterCard. But the truth is that it doesn't matter what MasterCard thinks, and defining your politics in opposition to it is delusional. People are addicted to the idea that truth exists on the margins. That is increasingly not the case. Truth has diffused. It has never cared for ugly equations. In a cabin not so far from here is an ex-public intellectual. He was a racist computer engineer who believed that violence was the greatest evil. And so the solution was to calcify the relations that already existed by making owners of cities, countries, and companies into lords. Their authority would be legitimized via token, while intra-community violence would indeed be eradicated via this model. This would be a total submission to being rather than becoming. Emptiness and annihilation of the self allow for awareness alongside mutability of values. Perhaps these changes can even reify the self in a manner similar to adaptation of artistic work. Only by carving away extraneous elements such as superficial plot and setting can we arrive at what the adapter considers important. Here, the ex-public intellectual is a quadriplegic, waited on by a nurse. He has, through ideology, robbed himself of power. Isn't submitting to the ebb and flow of the self the same as becoming a cuckold to violent structures that uphold intra-community violence? Not quite. I am not so naive to think that that which is good about oneself will always resurrect, but I do think that periodic death is good. There's the little death and the big death, but those two are often the same thing. For example, feederism can be a soul suicide in that one becomes an object of excess gluttony. Concerns regarding the world disappear when one is in the fetish world pornotopia. We regularly defeat ourselves, and yet we do not consciously do it. To defeat the self as a warrior creates greater results than defeating the self as mediated through a product. And so there is the annihilation through freedom and the annihilation through spirit. Freedom is offered to us, and we subjugate ourselves to it. Spirit is the internal. There are spheres within our chests full of angels called Weltanschauungs, and from these spheres we can pull swords known as ziggurats. So it is intentionality combined with spiritual or erotic energy that marks the superior form of death. Where did you leave my coat? Juice dripped from a malformed synthetic apple onto Oppenheimer's face, the drops so small as to resemble tears. The organism is not usually so erratic, he said. Intellectuals, always referring to things clearly differentiated as if they are one, said Eris. It's a machine like any other. No, that's silly. It's a ghost. I hate ghosts. I hate the dreams we had of the future. I hate that we have escaped into them, and all the so-called futurists of today can think about is how to bring the useless reveries of the 1950s into reality. If only we could kill the future and let the shock and awe of our bombed out mental landscapes dawn on these eggheads. All the future can be is consumerism. And when the future crosses from the ghostly to the corporeal, is without fail a parody. It is all the useless bells and whistles that can only ever sound good in concept. And so its only real purpose is to act as a real life form of fan service. Eris held a lance behind her back. Its tip had the shape of an upside down heart. She approached Oppenheimer and struck him with it. In that moment, the sky itself became a painted dome, the fluffy ersatz clouds, suggesting far more to them than the slavishly recreated stars. As blood trickled from the hole exuberantly, Oppenheimer groaned. His body began to segment, split apart, and float. The moon cast down rays through a hole at the dome's center. Within the left and right torso were men in pajamas who were in charge of maintaining a garden. Through the recreation of a facsimile of nature, these men exerted mastery over their surroundings. They became lords of the created world, and so were driven to compete in the art of topiary. All the men fantasized about killing the others and becoming king of the torso. In the head, There was a man who was incredibly fond of being sad, and so spent all his time looking over the torso with binoculars, searching for something to cry about. In the arms were a bunch of vagrants who had trespassed upon Oppenheimer's body in the middle of the night and took refuge in the warm curves. The dome had begun to fill up with a reflective fluid. Eris began to notice that she was drifting apart as well. The liquid caught up to the floating body parts, and the motion of the waves caused many inhabitants to slip over the edge and drown. In Eris's left and right torso, there were squares cut into the inner surface. One of the squares was always inhabited by a man on a lazy boy recliner who was reading a newspaper, drinking a coffee. He spontaneously and unconsciously teleported from square to square with little pattern to his movements. He freely crossed from left torso to right. In her head, there was a community of rats who took great pleasure in watching one another fight to death. The windows were askew. Oppenheimer grabbed hold of Eris's waist. Halved pomegranates with a milky white fluid mixing with a red juice bobbed along the surface of the lake. It appeared that they had originated from the dome below. They paddled backwards, and Eris rested her head on Oppenheimer's stomach. It's a beautiful thing to see the moon like this. We can see it whenever we want, even when it leaves us, she said. The hallway of my right leg has wood paneling, and at the base of the foot, Damien Hirst's Mickey is displayed, he said in response. Eris grabbed one of the pomegranates and licked the inside. The white is a liquid pearl, she said. It's not so valuable, said Oppenheimer. It's another thing. You haven't tasted it. I don't need to. Nothing can be that good. You need to be miserable. It validates your sense of truth, but it has not dispersed all across your body. You're a nihilist, one that watches The Bachelor at that. Nothing I've said has been untrue. You're using my temperament to undermine the truth of my statements. That is immensely condescending. I like the feeling of my legs against yours. Faux existentialism is a cliche nowadays. You achieve originality through velocity and pain. So you agree? Absolutely. You're very insightful. Doesn't mean I can't find you funny. God, you're such a bitch, chuckled Oppenheimer. Why are you named after that guy? I don't know. I certainly don't have sympathy for him. Eris broke free and swam toward the cracked black land. Come on, she said. They have glazed bananas. Eris and Oppenheimer decided to attend a screening of Paul Miller's The Pest. However, the program failed to mention that the film was to be riffed on live by two past their prime internet comedians. Not only that, audience members were encouraged to tweet jokes about the film using a dedicated hashtag, with the most liked tweets of the preceding 5 minutes being displayed on top of the film. The display was accompanied by a blast of confetti. The floor was sticky and the air smelt like sugar. The audience were not so much laughing at the film as they were at the dismissive opinion they had of it being validated by glorified narration conditioning them to despise. The film may as well not have been playing, as the work itself was simply a void surrounded by artifice. The critique was not responding to anything. Instead, it was the dishonorable art of riffing, a hatchet job for its own snake, snark and confusion signifying nothing.
Oh, man, I love that. And that last line, that snark and let me reread it. A hatchet job for its own sake, snark and confusion signifying nothing. Like that final paragraph is such a brutal takedown of the discourse's approach to film criticism, the endless recursive need to just keep mining bad media for jokes. And yeah, no, I mean that moment is great. The thing taken as a whole though is fantastic. It's phantasmagoric, right? I think that's probably the one best term to describe your writing, maybe, because it's such an unbelievable, and I know I've said this 1,000 times, but such an unbelievably wild collage of philosophical treatise and wild surrealist kind of mythic sort of narrative, right? It's just so good. It's so good, Gianluca. I don't feel like I have much to say about this one that I haven't said in the past, but everything I've said in the past continues to be true. this is just like one of the most original and absolutely wonderfully deranged pieces of like of fiction fucking that I've encountered anywhere, let alone like on Misery Loves Company. It's good shit, man.
Yeah, I love the I guess it's like the Lilliputian / Gulliver's Travels kind of sequence in there where they're being like dissected, like literally, and yeah, it's just that was really cool. But no, this is really trippy. I love this kind of writing, and you always produce some really good philosophical stuff that it hits with them powerful feels too.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, thank you, man. Rudy is up next and potentially last. So if anyone has a piece they would like to read after Rudy, just put something in the chat and we'll add you to the list because it's not even 9 o'clock yet. So we've got plenty of time if anyone has anything they'd like to read. Anyway, Rudy, it's all yours.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read what is basically Fraggle Rock fandom shit. I don't know. I don't really know what to call it, man. I apologize. Lord, I apologize for this. But let me just make the tweet real quick, just a second.
Sure.
Wait, did I? What the hell? Okay, fair enough. Also, how does my mic sound? I'm not sure if I did something, but I know I.
Sounds good. Sounds clear.
Okay. Cool. So I got the link here.
Oh, I put the link in the chat.
Okay. All right. So let me see here. So this is called Outer Space and Other Songs. And it's a I guess a piece of Fraggle Rock fan fiction world building with some musical interludes I might try to sing. Outer Space and Other Songs. These lyrics and prefaces were taken from EIE.io, a website whose purpose is, quote, annotating lyrics from Fraggles and occasionally sillier creatures, quote, unquote. They describe songs from the band Fraggle Rock's self-titled album. With a three-piece lineup that often expanded, calling upon the psychic egregore of Fragglitude for backup vocals, Fraggle Rock has been described as a grungy psychedelic rock for people who would prefer not to use psychedelics. Many of the group's songs express an ambivalence towards recreational drug use and explore themes of depression and loneliness. Fraggle Rock has drawn comparisons to bands like Nirvana, Big Brother and the Holding Company, King Crimson, and of course Meat Puppets, because they're puppets. Okay, so the first song is Outer Space. The title of the song, Outer Space, is a reference to both the place where those silly creatures live and the otherworldly sensations brought on by eating doozer construction projects, which have recently been known to induce psychotropic and hallucinogenic effects when consumed. Some explorers believe that doozer construction materials, radishes, have become contaminated with chemical runoff from outer space being where we live, a theory that the first verse alludes to. The track is widely considered to be a lamentation of the ecological and community level changes brought about by the so-called Radolution. It was penned by Janice Fraggle after her consumption of a whole skyscraper. Of the experience, she said, "When I got to about the 13th floor, I was more ravenous than ever. And I remember seeing like visions of it, outer space. It was all noise and just pure applesauce, man. A big blender chewing and gnashing forever. Some other thing in control of my body doing whatever. So I'm gonna attempt to sing some of these. It's gonna be bad. Ba 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 ba, yeah, ba 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 ba, no no, ba 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 ba, whoa whoa whoa. This commotion keeps moving me. Buddha sweet effluvia trickles down from something grand and hard to see. Foreign born commodity underground. Unplugged color television. Announcer still gesturing, yeah, yeah. Outer space is Skid Row. Palette swaps and no, no, no. Palette dulled to black white. Cause outer space is all night. Guitar solo down, 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 down. Radish, radish, tell me a secret. Radish, hold your lion tongue. Radish to hashish pipeline. Public works of Nibelung. Yeah, unplugged color television. Announcer still gesturing, yeah, yeah. Outer space is Skid Row. Palette swaps and no, no, no. Palette dulled to black white. Outer spaces all night. Drum solo by Larry Fraggle. I don't know if you can hear the hand bone, but there it is. Oh shit. Oh, he's building up. He's building up. Oh fuck. Up, 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 down. Up, yeah, yeah. Velvet into leather, whoa, whoa. Upper arm into a birds of a feather. Bus stop rolling, rolling, rolling. Gotta send a letter, whoa, oh, unplugged color television. Announcer still gesturing, yeah, yeah. Outer space is Skid Row. Palette swaps is no, no, no. Palette dulled to black white. Outer spaces all night. All night. Outer spaces all night. All night. Yeah. Ba 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 ba. Okay, so this next one is called Down syndrome. Kurt Fraggle wrote Down syndrome after eating an entire highway off ramp, which he said felt like losing half my brains. He noted that the song was not meant to disparage people with a developmental disorder, but was a riff on his constant feelings of inadequacy and how he felt shut down by suggestions that he was stronger than his mental illness. Once again, I'm going to attempt to sing this one. Real strong boy, don't look at my face. Look at my face, don't look at my face. I'm a real strong boy, don't look at my face. Look at his face. Stupid waist chin. Real strong boy, don't look at my face. Look at my face, don't look at my face. I'm a real strong boy, don't look at my face. Look in his face. Stupid waist chin. Real dumb boy, take a Polaroid. Stare too long and no grace. Yeah, he's a slack-jawed infidel boy with a vanishing gaze. No face, duh, just a pest in a garden. Lay a trap for him, guarded now. He'll be dead by Bombay. Hey, show him off to your mother. If I had my druthers, I'd put that boy in a vase. Yeah, real strong boy, don't look at my face. Look at my face. Look at my face. Yeah, I'm a real strong boy. Don't look at my face. Look in his face. Stupid waist. Yeah, real strong boy. Don't look at my face. Look at my face. Look at my face. I'm a real strong boy. Don't look at my face. Look in his face. Stupid waist chin. And then the outro is the psychic egregore saying retard, moron, hopeless case. Yeah, fucking put him in some other place. And that repeats into oblivion. The next song and the last one is called Sense. The only song on the album written by Leary Fraggle, Sense uses backmasked egregore vocals carried by folky acoustic guitar. Played normally, it sounds like a nonsensical parody of a folk album. Leary Fraggle, rendered mute after inhaling massive amounts of radish powder, has no vocals on the track, despite many outlandish rumors to the contrary, including one claiming he had become miraculously non-mute to record the song. Reports that Leary Fraggle speaks directly through the egregore by blinking out Morse code with his third eye are considered to be largely unfounded. Most fans believe that the song is an anti-spiritual and see it as a backwards narrative about substance-fueled descent into hellish punishment, inspired lyrically by Richie Havens' Follow the Drinking Gourd. The gourd in this case is replaced by an inebriated Gorg, the decadent rulers of the universe who dwell near Fraggle lands. Leary Fraggle reportedly shrugged and took a bite out of a railroad car when presented with this interpretation, a weak affirmation. I'm not going to sing this one, but I'll read it. Follow the drinking Gorg, follow the drinking Gorg. The morning star extends your senses, torment, follow the drinking Gorg. When the sun returns hot, neuropathy and a revolver, follow the drinking Gorg. The morning star sears flesh, soul, follow the drinking Gorg. Follow the drinking Gorg, follow the drinking Gorg. The morning star gonna snatch you up in a cage of hard light, follow the drinking Gorg. Well, the dry river heaves you towards the suffering domain. Dead fish point like arrows. Right foot, smart foot migrating on. Follow the drinking Gorg. Follow the drinking Gorg. Follow the drinking Gorg. The morning star hangs in a space of our making. Follow the drinking Gorg. Well, the river begins, nursing many worlds. Follow the drinking Gorg. Follow the drinking Gorg. There's nothing living beyond here. Follow the drinking Gorg. Follow the drinking Gorg. Follow the drinking Gorg. The morning star shines on works of progress.
Oh my god, put in my asshole. Fuck.
Ooh. Follow the drinking Gorg. Where the great big meets the infinitesimal. Follow the drinking Gorg. The morning star calls to all with good hearing. Follow the drinking Gorg. The morning star takes 1,000 lifetimes to birth if you follow the drinking Gorg. And that's all the Fraggle songs I have for right now. But these are the mid-journey images I use below there. You know the Joe. So yeah.
Man, I am so angry that I don't smoke because I want a cigarette lighter to hold up. That whole time I was like, man, I wish I could be holding up a cigarette lighter. But man, that was fucking incredible. I'm fucking, it's sad that like this came around on the night that like most of our regulars aren't here, because I like it's sad to me that Adam and Jesse and Josh and GG all missed out on that. We're gonna find out we are going to find out who actually watches the videos, because somebody is going to say something about this. Holy shit, man, that's fucking awesome. And this is a tremendous accomplishment on the part of Midjourney too. Like the fucking Kurt Cobain as a Fraggle, you could show that to literally anyone without telling them what the fuck that is supposed to be, and they'd be like, is that Kurt Cobain as a Fraggle?
Right?
Like,
right.
I'm just fucking in awe of technology's ability to like, where are we at right now? I feel like the singularity probably came and went without improving our lives except in this way.
Yeah, no.
Like the singularity, it's like people are like, oh, the singularity is going to arrive and we'll have eternal life and we will, you know, and human life will be fundamentally and forever transformed. But I have a feeling that it's not. It's just like now you can basically conjure any image directly from your brain using an AI. But any
Yeah,
other
literally.
like improvements to our standard of living, we're just shit out of luck. But man,
Pretty
oh
much.
man, I love these songs, and your performance was unbelievable, like just absolutely fucking incredible. Um, I have to ask, where the fuck did this idea come from? I mean, besides obviously your love of Kurt Cobain and Fraggles.
Yeah, well, I was listening to a lot of Big Brother and the Holding Company this week because I was listening to some Janice, I guess. And the Janice one looks good too, honestly. It did a really
Yeah.
good job with her. But so I was just thinking, like, you know, what would happen, like, if the Fraggle ecosystem, you know, how they rely on the doozers for like
Right.
food, and the doozers rely on like the gorgs, like they mine the radishes from the gorg area or whatever. And like, what if that like collapsed basically? And I started to write a ecological collapse one, but instead I just thought, well, what if they're just fucking high all the time because, you know, fentanyl or whatever from, you know, Kensington, Philadelphia is seeping in through the sewers into their fucking radishes or whatever.
No, it's genius. And of course that let you fucking do the pun, right? That's central to this whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
No, I love the idea of Fraggle psychedelica. It's just, and you know what's wonderful is it's only a half step removed from the actual subject matter, right?
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes this shit is way fucking out there, and that's wonderful in its own way too. When it's abstracted 6 or 7 times into
Yeah.
oblivion, and you can see the vague outline of like the subject matter being played with. But this is really, you could imagine if Jim Henson was, you know, just slightly higher, or if the financial incentives for him to create a children's program were just
Yeah.
slightly less significant, that this could have been what it was. Right? Because a lot of the stuff that like the ecological stuff, the environmental stuff anyway,
Yeah.
is like rooted in like the source material here. So it really feels like it really feels like, I don't know, like oddly very loyal to the source material.
Well, Jim Henson, please don't. Oh, I guess he's dead. But whoever owns the Jim Henson company, please don't sue me. Just send me a take or do. I mean, I don't care. But
Fuck yeah.
uh,
We could use suppress. Who cares?
oh yeah,
Shit.
but yeah. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks
that
for
was
letting me
awesome. That was awesome, man. So we there are only 6 people left here, and Rudy has read already. Gianluca has read already. I've got nothing. I've got a Word document with fragmentary sentences that's supposed to be a review that's hopefully going up on the Last Estate, knock on wood, next week, but it's nowhere near ready to read. So that leaves Keith, Ramona, and Brandon. Do any of you have anything to read, or are we going to wrap it up? Ramona says, I can't.
It's okay. That's a lie. You lie, Obama.
That's Rudy's bit. Keith, I see you've
Yeah.
unmuted.
Since there's only 5 people, I'll read.
Okay. Awesome.
Nice.
I've got 2 very serious pieces.
Okay.
I didn't set up my camera outfit and all for this. Okay. I think everybody will understand this first one. Candy corn, first world problems. I can't quit eating candy corn. I'm addicted. Every year around Labor Day, about 9 weeks before Halloween, the Dollar General store gets in the candy corn autumnal mix. Like an addict, I start out buying only a couple of containers, which I ration until I have a weak moment. And then it begins. I can't stop, and I won't stop until it's all gone. And then I'll go to buy a couple more containers of autumnal mix. And if I'm really lucky, there won't be any left in the store. And then I'm good until next year, around Labor Day, when it will be back on the shelves. That's the first piece. Now, this second piece, I'm going to try to read it like Gianluca used to read some of his stories, but now this is going to be an exercise. It's called Random Notes One Afternoon, Not AI Generated, Captured on the Fly. Sits down, bike is beside his nightstand, he remembers. Games people play, mama's nightstand, saw in a used store, didn't read, scared to pick up. Coherent thoughts, double check mark, likes on emails, telegrams. Our biases want it to be what we want it to be, tucked in subconscious. Sandstorm picking up, HR matching the beat. He's at 90% of his max. He's breathing deeper, faster. His coherent thoughts leaving. He sees woolly mammoths. He feels adrenaline, dopamine, running, chasing, running, being chased. He keeps the pace. He can't stop. He's not dying, not today. He's in his safe space. He's hiding from the cyborgs, the woolly mammoths. The winds are calming. He looks out the cave and sees nothing. There's no sand. It is calm. His dashboard shows it's over. He's safe until tomorrow. He deltas channels to Satis Nociens number 7. His heart slows and slows. Coherent thoughts begin to return. How soon will it be before he returns to the real world, the underworld? The thoughts are returning. He thinks to himself, Schwinn makes a nice recumbent bike. It was thoughtful of someone he loves dearly to give him this bike. They told him how much they loved him. That felt good, and he loved them. He knows that he never wants to read that book. The book on his mother's nightstand, Games People Play. By Keith, captured in real time on an undated spring day in 2021, transcribed on 8/21/22 from hand-scribbled notes, no edits. I believe that I wrote this following some of my first exposure to AI-generated writing. I was doing a 30-minute recumbent cycling routine, which I continue to do today 3 times a week, listening to multiple renditions of Darude's Sandstorm. I was capturing and writing these words as I exercised intensely. They reflect fleeting thoughts of a troubled mind. The end.
Keith, holy shit. I love that you paired those two pieces together, because I can't imagine two pieces as fundamentally different as those. First of all, the candy card piece is just fucking hilarious and incredible and relatable. For me, it's not candy corn, it's those fucking tubs they sell at Walmart of the gelatinous orange slices. So like they're like, I don't know, I don't know, they're like orange flavored gelatin, like covered in like sugar, and I should not eat one of those, but if I get a tub, I will eat the entire fucking tub in a week easily. But that was great. And the second piece, oh my gosh, first of all, the delivery was perfect. I started hearing Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire" playing in my head about a quarter of the way through. But no, I love, like, it's so different from your usual work, because like first of all, I love stream of consciousness style writing. Like Faulkner is one of my favorite authors, and you really, really captured that stream of consciousness style. The like movement from panic to like insight to like boom, 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 that kind of rapid fire movement of thought, like the movement of thought in real time, I think you captured in a really remarkable way in that piece and in like your delivery of the piece. Anyway, Keith, I'm belaboring it. They were both really good, even if they couldn't have been more different.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that the second piece there was so awesome, and the movement and the energy of it. You really captured like something about the way like Gianluca and some other energetic performers really get in the moment. You got in that space there. I love it.
It was difficult to cycle it, keep a heart rate at about 150 beats a minute and take notes at the same time. So it wasn't hard to recreate that.
Oh yeah, it was good. I love it.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. So I think that's it. I think Brandon had said earlier that he just moved and he doesn't have anything to share. So I think we're going to call it there. I guess I'll leave the Zoom meeting open for a little bit here. We don't really have many people left, but maybe just a little while. But anyway, I'm going to end the reading portion now. If you're watching this on YouTube, and I hope some people are watching this one on YouTube, like all the regulars who had other shit to do tonight, you best be watching right now. And if you're not, I'm ashamed of you, but you can't tell. So I guess you got off scot-free on that one. Anyway, this has been Misery Loves Company. We do this every Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Anyone is welcome to come and share their work. Anyone is welcome to come and just hang out and lurk. We tweet out the Zoom link to attend the reading, I don't know, 5 minutes or so before we begin. And we tweet it from our Twitter account. I'm going to see how many times I can get tweet and Twitter into this outro, which is @MiseryTourism. And yeah, fuck it. That's it. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone who read. Thank you everyone who came. It's been a great night.